Hi, welcome in. If you're here, you're stepping into your highest timeline, and I'm here to help you navigate that journey. I'm just going to tap in, get a channeled message, then I'll pull some cards. We'll go wherever the energy takes us. If at any point this message resonates with you, please hit the like button and comment to let me know. All right, let me get tapped in. Tapping into the collective now, Spirit. Bring forth messages that the collective needs to hear for their highest and greatest good. Remove me, make me a clear channel for your word. What message does the collective need to know in this moment, Spirit? Okay, I get you diving into water, and it's like a reef, like you're like exploring it fully, and you're like, wow, there's a whole other world down here. Yeah. And there's fish, and there's just so much to explore. And you come up to the surface and you have like friends that are at the shore, and you're like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what I just saw down there, and they don't understand it, and you couldn't explain it, and they can't see it for whatever reason, like they are not diving down there right now, and it like sticks with you of this, like, there's a whole other world down there, and you feel like special, blessed that you got to see it. I'm really getting that this is your connection with spirit. So your connection with the 5D, your connection with the spiritual side of things. So there may be people in your life that like just don't get it. They don't get your connection to spirit. They don't understand like what 5D even is. And I get that like you're somebody that navigates 3D and 5D well, but that you have people in your world that just wouldn't even understand the 5D side of you, but to you the 5D is like way more real than the 3D. And you, it's like the reef, like it's beautiful and colorful, and it's like what life is worth living. It's like you belong more there, right? But you obviously live in the 3D. You must live in the 3D. We're here, we have to pay our bills and work and whatever. There's things that we do in the 3D that we just need to do. But I'm getting that like the 5D sticks with you. Like you're always thinking about it. You're always thinking about your connection to source. It is driving your life in the 3D even more than it ever has. And 5D and your connection to source has really given you a sense of belonging. But you're just a little bit like, oh my gosh, like I have this sense of belonging, and I love my connection to source, and I love that I have this special ability to be in 5D and to bring it to 3D. But you feel the tension or whatever between nobody in 3D gets it, right? They're not going to understand it the way you understand it. And I hear that you're navigating that really well, and you appreciate both. You appreciate 3D and you appreciate 5D. But spirit really wants you to know this is because you are a trailblazer. So yeah, there's some people that need to go first in ascension. And so you're a leader of the pack. So you've seen the reef. You've seen how beautiful it is. And there's going to be a bunch of people that don't get it. They don't see it. Think you're crazy. Don't believe you. Almost want to be like, I don't know how she gets what she gets or how he does what he does. They want to like laugh at you maybe. So yeah, I get that you're really good at navigating these, but there's a little bit of a disconnect from all the people that are around you, because most of the people that are around you are firmly in 3D. Okay, let's pull some cards and see what else Spirit has for us. Which deck, Spirit? Getting Light Seers Tarot. Yeah, so that's part of being a light worker, right? But I think that, you know, on this journey, we all have different levels of woo that we've brought into our normal world. Um, and so, you might be at the point where you're wondering, like, if all that really matters to me is spirit and the 5D and connecting to spirit and staying tapped in all the time, then how do I show up to, my kid's baseball game or the grocery store or my job and keep this with me? And I get that, like, spirit's always there, so spirit's saying, well, we're always with you. We've always been with you. You can just feel it now. So, and your little hints to people about, like, well, everything happens for a reason, or I'm sure this will happen in perfect timing. And, some of the things that you just say in the 3D world that are accepted, they're becoming more acceptable. So you're bringing your 5D zest to 3D people, whether you know it or not, just by holding that frequency. What more do we have for the collective spirit? Yeah, this is like, it is. When you start getting tapped in, you start channeling, and you start having such a good relationship with spirit, it is hard to contain yourself. It's hard to pretend, that the beautiful reef under the sea exists. What more for this collective spirit? Okay. Let's see. I got a bunch of cards coming out here. Okay, so what I'm getting is life hasn't been easy for you. You chose a path that was tough, and there was a lot of your life that you might have been connected to spirit, but not in a way. You almost felt abandoned by spirit, like maybe a lot of traumas have happened to you, and you felt alone then. Now you're connected to spirit and you feel alone too, because everybody's part of 3D, and you're dabbling and spending more time in 5D. But I get that, like, this world hasn't been kind to you. And because the world hasn't been kind to you and you never really felt like you fit in, you had to surrender to spirit. You had to say, there has to be more for me here. This world is really unforgiving, and you had to. And I'm really getting this as like a rock bottom card. Maybe you went through some big addictions, big abuse, like big abuses, big traumas, where you had to hit rock bottom. A lot was taken from you, or something. And it was in that rock bottom that you found spirit, that you really relied on and leaned on spirit. And you've always dreamt of a better world. You've always dreamt of reciprocity and a good world and a place where you belong. You always knew that, like, there was something more out there for you. You didn't, while all of this was happening to you, you didn't believe that that's what you were meant for, but you were just like, it must be out there. Like, it felt really out of reach. But I'm getting that you planted a lot of seeds along the way, to nurture your relationship with spirit, even while you were running a bunch of this old patterning, even while you were being your rough and tumble self. You were still planting seeds with spirit. You were still dreaming of what it's like. It's like you were remembering that you were here for a reason. Like, I don't remember what I was brought here for, but I know that there was a bigger purpose for me. And so you've always planted those seeds. And I get that you've worked really hard to like find your place, build your life, build your connection with spirit. You've just worked really hard, like despite adversity, you've continued to work hard. Like you're scrappy as hell. And I get that like you used to really have this win at all costs mentality. You really used to be like, I don't want to say out for yourself, but you had to protect yourself so much that you were kind of like always on the defensive. But that like you just dreamt of a world where you didn't need to be always on the defensive, and that you didn't have to work so hard. And you spent a lot of time surrendering to spirit. And let me get more on this Seven of Cups, because the Seven of Cups came out in reverse, which to me means you didn't feel like you had a lot of options. Like life happened to you, as you were growing up, or you through this adversity. It was like, I didn't ask for this shit. I didn't choose this shit. I didn't have any other option. Like I had the family I grew up in. I had the trauma that happened to me like that. And a lot of times on this channel, I will say that we chose it because I believe that we chose our lives before we came here. So, but obviously as a young child, you didn't choose what happened to you while you were in this life, like cognitively. So you didn't feel like you had a lot of options. So when you don't have a lot of options, like I'm thinking like if you're sitting in a prison cell, the only thing you can lean on is like spirit. And you did, because you didn't have a lot of options. What more for this collective spirit? Yeah, so like back to the channeling, it's like, how would anybody understand that? Like they might look at you today and not believe that like you've been through all that adversity and that you spent so much time dreaming of a better life, a new life, one where you were willing to put in the work. You were willing to plant the seeds. You brought every adversity, every challenge, you came at like full force. It wasn't lack of you trying to survive that like you didn't make it where you wanted to be, but you got to a point where you really had to surrender completely. And that's what I'm getting, like the other people that we're talking about in 3D that don't get it, they haven't had all of that. And if they have, their defense mechanisms, their wounding patterns are too strong for them to surrender. But you've surrendered, and because you've surrendered, Spirit wants to give you a love offering. Spirit wants to come in with something that's going to make you feel love, because you are love. And through all of this adversity, all you've ever really wanted was to belong somewhere. And Spirit's saying, baby, you belong. You belong to the cosmos. You belong to God. You belong. Hold on. Yeah, and I get the Queen of Cups, like, and in this deck, this is always like just so spiritual. Like this, I feel like she's surrendering, and because she's surrendering, she is getting her cup filled completely. Like she feels valued and loved and nurtured. And that's what Spirit wants to give you, like gifts of value and love and nurture and flowers and, like just like all the things you would feel if you were given a love offering, just like, oh, your cup would run over. And Spirit's going to give you that because you were able to surrender. The love doesn't come until we can put down some of our burdens, put down some of our need to figure it out, need to work. So Spirit's saying stay tapped in, because you're getting the rewards of that. And that's what a lot of people in 3D right now are experiencing. They have gone through, we've all gone through a certain level of adversity. So they've gone through their level of adversity. They're wondering, like, where's my new world? They have put in what they feel like they've worked a lot. Like, a lot of people in 3D are coming to the realization of, like, this shit is for the birds. No, nobody wants the way 3D is going. But Spirit's saying the secret is surrendering to Spirit. And that is when all the love comes in. And the surrender is really scary for a lot of people. And you've done it well. So just like being able to see the beautiful reef under the water, look, you went under and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember I belong to the stars. I belong to the universe. I belong to God. I belong to Source. Creator lives within me. I create my reality. But that's really tough to tell somebody that hasn't plunged below the water. So you've realized this. And now, Spirit, because you've realized this and you've surrendered and you're getting to a place where you can receive love offerings, life is going to be reciprocal. And what I'm really getting from Spirit is, in New Earth, what we have is people feeling loved, receiving love, and a fair universe. So we have people giving and taking equally, which right now in the world, right, that's probably the biggest like issue that people talk about, is like people taking too much and what's a fair share and people not caring and all of those things. So I have in New Earth, it's going to be reciprocal. It's going to be reciprocal. And it all starts with surrendering, realizing what dynamics we're playing in some of that, and receiving love, being able to receive love, which we all know, to be able to receive love, we need to realize our worth. And surrendering helps us realize our worth, because when we surrender to something greater, when we remember where we came from, then we start to remember, like, oh my gosh, we're spiritual royalty. I mean, I don't know about you, but with my connection to spirit, I feel so rich. I feel so like cared for. I feel like I have the best parents, right, in the world, like that love me and want to see me do well. And so what I get here is the Eight of Wands, which this is messages coming in quickly for you. So stay tapped in and you're going to get all the messages that you need. And these, what I'm hearing is, because you're the special lighthouse, light worker that chose to surrender when other people can't, and you've seen 5D and you live in 5D a lot of the time, and you are love and you're receiving love, and you know what it is to feel reciprocated. Spirit's bringing in messages for you. You're going to receive downloads of what your next step is, or what feels right for you, or what you should be doing next. And I'm really getting to help these 3D people, friends, these 3D people around us, to help them to be the bridge, to help them see how to surrender and how to see the beautiful wreath under the water, right? And I get Three of Wands, which is, do not for a second think that 5D is elusive. I know that 3D feels real. 3D is like right outside your door and you can go and be in 3D, and we can't help but be in 3D all the time. But I'm getting like, hold out for 5D all the time. 5D, New Earth, raised consciousness, ascension is coming. It's happening. It's happening right now. So keep going in that direction. When you meet people, when you see people struggling in 3D, Hold the frequency of what is possible. And this is not a judgment. This is not, well, you're in 3D and I'm in 5D. No, this is like, I see your pain. I see your protective mechanisms. I see why you would choose 3D. And I'm channeling and holding the frequency of ascension in 5D. And I hope you feel my love. And I hope someday you feel safe enough to surrender so that you can come see how beautiful 5D is as well. Anything else for this collective spirit? Any final words? I mean, I think that was pretty good. Hold out for 5D. Be the one that sees the possibility of ascension of Earth. And I get Queen of Wands and King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So what I really get with this is, in all of your actions, this doesn't need to be like, I'm a light worker, I need to raise the frequency. No, this is like, love life, swim in the reef, have fun, have joy, drink from this love cup. I mean, lead by example, okay? And have peace. People are going to see, like, wow, she feels stable. He looks stable. He looks like he has peace. He looks like he's not worried about anything. How do you keep that peace? And that's when you can go, oh, well, I just surrendered all of that to spirit. I know that I'm here to hold a frequency. I know that I'm here to bring in new earth. That gives me a lot of peace. I've made it this far. I've made it through a lot. And spirit has already given me so much. So much, right? So yeah, I do have peace. And by having peace and taking inspired action when the rest of the world is kind of like, scared, that's how you're a light worker. That's how you bridge the gap. That's how you magnetize people towards you and towards New Earth. That's the message. The lighthouse can show you the shore, but you still need to steer the ship. If any of that resonated, or you want to claim your role in New Earth as a light worker, please comment and claim below. Until next message.